YouTube, how the duck you doing? Duck Films here. What I got for you today is the ultimate guide to McGinnis and Deadlock. And since I am a YouTuber, I do have to ask the YouTube stuff. If you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed, why not? It's completely free and, well, you're coming back anyways. But that's enough about that, onto the video. So the TF2 engineer, otherwise known as McGinnis, and the best way to probably describe McGinnis is kind of like a support character, not a super full-fledged support like say Dynamo, but a support that does drop healing, throws walls and stuns. She's also an amazing split pusher, taking down guardians and walkers at record times. And probably a lot of other guides have probably also told you the same thing, that if you don't like split pushing, McGinnis is not the character for you, sadly. Now you could argue and say she has other great aspects, but her main point is split pushing. Now McGinnis also comes with a lot of pros and cons. Probably the first and major downside to McGinnis is that she doesn't have a lot of movement speed. I believe that she's currently one of the slowest characters in the game, if not the slowest, and if I'm wrong, sorry about that. And she only has 2 stamina bars, unlike other characters who have 3 or 4, which makes her an extremely easy target if you're trying to run her down, or if she used her wall already and doesn't have Echo Shard, you can easily just get a hold of her. Now a pro is that you don't have to be at a computer when you're farming lane. You just simply slap down a turret and go AFK and have a hot pocket, drink some water, do whatever you want. She's an absolute lane bully, from her turrets doing a ton of damage to enemy laners and to the minions, and she has a ton of lane sustain with her second ability, Healing Orb or Healing Aura, whatever you want to call it. And her wall is super useful when you're trying to deny enemy soul orbs. So the general pro is that she's a lane bully. Now something that makes her super unique and super interesting is her base gun. Now just like other characters in the game, McGinnis also has a basic attack or her base gun, however you want to describe it, but you can kind of classify her base gun as an ability in its own right. See, it has a really low damage per shot, but has an insanely high rate of fire and an absolutely massive magazine count. Now the longer you hold down your primary fire button, will increase your rate of fire. In simpler terms, the longer you hold down to your fire weapon means the more fire rate you're going to get, and essentially the more damage output you're going to have. If I didn't say that right, or I might have repeated myself, I apologize for that. But anyways, let's talk about her abilities. Now McGinnis' first ability is, well, the turret ability. By hitting your first ability button, you throw out a turret. The turrets get 20% of McGinnis' max health and 60% spirit resist. It has a base damage of 60 spirit power that scales at 0.4 and has a 25 meter base range, which is pretty insane. Now after the recent changes, McGinnis' first ability point upgrade is now a plus 25% movement slow if the turret hits an enemy laner or enemy neutral camp or whatever. The second upgrade is an increase of 10 meters attack range and 10% attack speed. This can be super useful, really trying to bully the enemy laner as much as possible. Again, you're just overall a lane bully, so you shouldn't really be losing lane when you're playing McGinnis, unless you're constantly getting ganked by enemy players. Now the fifth and final upgrade for the turret is plus 45 base damage, making the damage of the turret without any items a total of 105 spirit power, which is actually pretty good. For McGinnis' second ability, we have the heal, or the Medicinal Spectre, or however you pronounce it. It's a 15 meter AoE heal that lasts for 6 seconds on base, with a 25 health regen per second while standing in it, which again can be insane in the early stages of the laning phase to help you sustain more in lane so you don't necessarily have to buy healing right. On the first upgrade, it's plus 35% fire rate on all allies that are inside of the healing AoE. Again, this can be super useful in team fights trying to push major objectives or anything of this sort. On the second upgrade, it's a minus 17 second cooldown. Then on the fifth and final upgrade, it's a plus 5 health regen per second, so it'll be a 25 health regen per second and a plus 5 max health per second as well, which is very good if you're trying to save teammates or even yourself. Then for her third ability, we have the wall, or the spectral wall. You create a wall that divides the terrain in half. It deals damage and applies slow to enemies that are hit by it or that are in very close proximity to it. You can erect the wall by pressing your third ability button and simply get rid of it by pressing it again. It's 64 spirit damage with a spirit amplification or spirit multiplier of 0.8. It gives a 25% movement slow and is overall just a super useful and strong ability. On the first ability point upgrade, it removes 1 stamina and amplifies McGinnis' damage for 7 seconds to enemies that were hit by the wall. The second ability point upgrade is a minus 14 second cooldown, and the fifth upgrade adding a 1 second stun to enemies that are actually hit by the wall, making it again super useful for trying to gank or trap enemies. Then for McGinnis' fourth and ultimate ability, we have Spectral Barrage. You will unleash a volley of rockets that hits in the designated position. It's a base damage of 30 spirit power per rocket and a 0.4 multiplier, shooting out 6 rockets per second that lasts 13 seconds, or the channel duration. On the first ability point upgrade, it applies 35% movement slow to anyone that's hit by it. Second upgrade is a minus 47 second cooldown. Then on the fifth and final upgrade, it's plus 30 damage per rocket. The Spectral Barrage is amazing for trying to take down objectives like guardians or walkers, or catching people out. It's pretty much useful in all scenarios, in team fights, solo pushing, and much more. That's enough about that. Let's now move on to the builds. Now the build we're going to be running is inspired by Ray's simplified hybrid build, so shout out to them. But for me personally, we're going to be running Monster Rounds. Monster Rounds is just useful pretty much all the time. Even though it was slightly nerfed in the recent patch, it's still super strong. You do more damage against minions, so it helps you farm more. Melee charge is great, especially when you're trying to get up close and trying to refill your ammo, because you get reload your weapon instantly, or you give up to 100% bonus ammo. So it's really good to have, especially on McGinnis with her large magazine. We have extra stamina, as again, she only starts off with 2 stamina, so it's really great to have. Extra charge, so we get a second turret. Bullet lifesteal, because you're going to be shooting a lot, so might as well get all that lifesteal. Sprint boots, as again, she has little to no mobility or movement speed, so sprint boots is an essential buy. For our early game, we have intensifying magazine, where it increases your weapon damage as you continuously fire. As we all know, she has a large magazine, she has a high fire rate, but she doesn't do as much damage because of that fire rate, so we're going to need intensifying magazine. We have fleet footwork, so she doesn't get slowed down while you're shooting, and again, more movement speed and ammo. Enduring speed for, well, more speed. Rapid recharge, so we get more abilities, so we get 3 turrets now. Heroic Aura, again, provides movement speed and fire rate. This is like a hybrid build, so you're kind of a DPS and a support. You're kind of like an anti-dive support in a way. We didn't have improved cooldown to get our abilities up faster. Bullet resists Shredder, so while people take damage from our turrets, we're just shredding them down with our main gun. We have slowing bullets to be even more annoying. Spirit Lifesteal, so you can stack Spirit Lifesteal and Bullet Lifesteal together, so you can pretty much get all of your HP back. Suppressor is just a very good buy, pretty much on most characters, and there's no reason why you should do it. So your turrets are going to be applying the spirit damage to enemies. You also apply a fire rate slow, so this is really good. Point blank can be useful. You don't necessarily need point blank, but you can buy it. Mystic Slow, it builds off of Suppressor, so it's really good. Superior cooldown, why not? Slap that on your ultimate. Leech is also really good. Now for the late game turret pivot, this is like, so the late game turret pivot is your building for your turrets and spirit power. Late game minigun pivot is playing for your weapon damage and main gun. So for the late game turret pivot, we're buying Soul Shredder bullets, Refresher for our ultimate, Mystic Reverb, we'll be slapping that on our ultimate as well. Fortitude, Echo Shard, you're going to be Echo Sharding your walls so you can double box people. Mystic Vulnerabilities, this is a really great buy, and it builds into Escalating Exposure, which again, dealing spirit damage amplifies a stacking spirit amp, which is insane. Colossus to have a little more life. Superior Duration, we're going to be slapping that onto our ultimate so it lasts longer. Now if you're doing the late game minigun, you're going to be buying Ricochet, then Inhibitor so you get that maximum slow. Going to Toxic Bullets, Lucky Shot, Vampiric Burst, Colossus, Crippling Headshot, and Silencer, and Siphon Bullets. Now basically you choose what is best in each scenario. Toxic Bullets, if you're playing against characters that have a ton of lifesteal, a ton of healing. Vampiric Burst, if you feel like you're dying a lot. Colossus, again, if you're feeling like you're dying a lot. Probably the best ones to buy is Ricochet, Lucky Shot, Crippling Headshot, and Silencer for your damage. Vampiric Burst is like a if item. If you feel like you're dying a lot, buy Vampiric Burst. Get a ton of lifesteal back. But all in all, that's pretty much the build. Again, major credit to Ray for this build. I kind of changed it a little bit to suit my needs. So again, all credit to her, but you can her or him. But you can use this as well if you want to. But anyways, that was my guide to McGinnis and Deadlock. Of course, if you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you're already subscribed, why not? Coming back anyways. I hope you enjoyed, and well, I hope you have a great day. See you in the next one.